Legends Championship Series here in Cologne, Germany. Coming up now, it is Alliance facing off against Millennium in the first game of the day. And for Millennium, this has been a particularly tough split, and as the first team to get knocked out of the playoffs and put it into promotion tournament, the players are working on staying focused and playing together as a team.
Yeah, so we lost and now we're officially in the relegation and it feels really bad.
With a bad start in the LCS, it was already kind of disappointing.
A valiant start for Millennium, but the Wolves proving too strong once again.
They doesn't look that bad when we play, but somehow we can never find a way to win a game. For the few weeks we knew for every loss that we had, that was a less chance for us to go to playoffs, but we always had to keep our heads up and believing. But I think somewhere deep inside in our heads we knew that going to relegation was always something that would happen.
Things happen, so if this thing happens, you have to be strong yourself and you have to keep believing. I was already the last 2 splits in LCS, and for me it's important to stay in LCS, so now being relegated again is really hard for me.
Even if we're gonna get relegated, it's not like end of the world. We are all adult people. Maybe someone will decide to quit League of Legends because it's not gonna be maybe worth it for him anymore. But for me, I will always try to catch my dream and go to the World Finals. I would really like to keep doing this. If I wasn't passionate about the game, I would not be here and leave my family, leave my friends and everything just to move to Germany and live my dream. There's a lot of stake.
I think that if we can practice more, because we only had like 2 days to practice, I think we can become really good.
Super week. I think I would just enjoy to play again on the stage, and I would just try to become in my best shape.
We still want to take our revenge on the teams we lost, so we will try our best to just beat them and get motivated and eventually come pumped into relegations.
Like, it's really important to win for the team atmosphere and to show that we make some progress at least, that we are like moving forward.
Most teams might think of us like a free win, so maybe we can take that as an advantage and maybe do some upsets and destroy the standings.
And it's clearly been a tough season for Millennium. Of course, it was one of the teams that were obviously favoured to be a top 4 team by many pro players starting out the season.
Yeah, I definitely expected more from them this split, and unfortunately, things didn't piece it together. Creaton actually said during the feature that things didn't look bad for the team, they just couldn't find ways to win. And that's the best description. If you think back to all of Millennium's games, if they won the laning phase and dominated mid-game, they drag out the end and finally claw victory, but they just got lost in the mid-game. Yesterday, they looked much better, and we'll have to see if they can keep that up today.
Better too late than never. Alliance has tied their head-to-head matches with Fnatic, Roccat and SK Gaming, which means that if these teams all finish the week in a dead heat, we'll have a 4-way dual bracket playoff to determine their positions. Could be a long day tomorrow, we'll find out. Yesterday, of course, Alliance had their 8-game win streak broken by Fnatic, but it was a game that could have gone either way. They eventually lost in just over 50 minutes after a great team fight at the Baron, but honestly, they could have easily gone on to win if they had a pick of their own before the fight.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think, Alliance put together a strong showing against Fnatic. And in my opinion, they had a composition that was better in the late game than Fnatic's. But the problem for Alliance was that they picked a few fights where Fnatic managed to outplay them and secure very key objectives. I have an example of one of those plays. Let's bring that clip up onto your screen right now. And you're going to notice that Alliance think they've caught out Cyanide. So they go in, get some damage down. Now, there's a decent grouping from Alliance, but the problem that they have is they try to fight in this narrow corridor. And if anyone's seen the movie 300, when you fight in a narrow corridor, the defending side is going to be at the advantage. Soaz teleports in, he kicks up 3 or 4 people with the Dragon's Rage. Yellow Star is zoning everybody. They can't get past Leona. And then when you see Peke duking in and out with those distortions, there's AoE damage. Alliance are cluttered. Reckless is untouched. Look at Reckless's HP bar. He's not lost a shred of HP because they channeled themselves through that corridor. Fnatic had superior positioning and better playing. If Alliance had picked better fights, those things may not have happened, and Alliance could have actually picked up the win yesterday. Now, if we step back just for a brief moment, if Alliance want to lock in a first-round bye into the playoffs, They will need to ensure they don't allow themselves to have those same mistakes in-game. They can't afford that if they want their top 1, top 2 finish at the end of the split.
Well, yesterday we saw a bloodthirsty game between Millennium and the Super Hot Crew as J-Ree set a record for the most assists in the spring split at 25 in one game. Incredible, incredible stat. It was a messy game for both teams, but Millennium wrestled control and eventually closed out after a lot of brutal team fights.
Yeah, when Millennium took down the Super Hot Crew, I think a large part of the reason was just how well KottenX played on Kha'Zix. He went 11-5-10, and in my opinion, played in the style that we seen from Insec at IEM a few weeks ago. He was always in the thick of the action. He was pulling attention from the Super Hot Crew onto his shoulders, and he was getting kills or he was allowing his team to win. In general, while Millennium did have good plays, the Super Hot Crew didn't put up the strongest of fights. So the comp from Super Hot Crew needed to get ahead early, but didn't manage to garner any sort of advantage. And for Millennium to replicate what they did yesterday, today against Alliance, it has to start quickly. Millennium will need to ensure they get ahead early, disrupt Alliance's strong laning phase. And as we've already said, with Millennium in the promotion tournament, the games that they are playing now and for the rest of the week have the ability to play spoiler and shake up those top 6 seeds going into playoffs.
Well, let's check out those starting lineups. Over on the blue side, it is going to be Alliance. That means Wickd is in the top lane, Shook in the jungle, Froggen in the mid lane, Tabzz as AD carry, and Nyph in support.
And of course, on the red side, it is Millennium. Kevin up top, KottenX in the jungle, Kerp in the mid lane, Creaton as AD carry, and J-Ree as your support.
So those are the teams. What will they pick? We'll find out in just a few moments. What are we expecting coming into this matchup?
I don't think LeBlanc's going to make it through. I feel like both of these teams put quite a lot of priority on that champion. I'm wondering about Nidalee. We'll see if that goes through. You know, we've seen Froggen playing it a few times in the past. I feel like for both of these teams, mid lane and jungle is going to be the focus bands. Kha'Zix, Evelynn also being top tier, high priority.
Let's not also forget Nyph with Thresh. Has got a great win rate. J-Ree also plays it to great effect as well. Some highly contested supports between these two guys.
Nyph and J-Ree play the exact same champions. Their 3 most played are Thresh, Leona, and Annie, both in that order. But we've seen more Thresh games from Nyph, and in recent weeks, it's been Nyph's Thresh that's been more powerful. So we'll see who gets their hands on it.
Well, Rise is the first ban. You see it coming out there from Alliance. They don't want to allow that through. Kerp played it yesterday, I believe. Zed also being banned away. Froggen played that to great effect last week.
So I'm wondering if Millennium are trying to force Alliance's hand to ban LeBlanc. By taking Zed away, if Alliance don't either ban LeBlanc or pick her first, that is a strong possibility for a contender in the mid lane. But you've got all of your farm-heavy champions still there. Gragas is up, Ziggs is up. Like we've mentioned, that Nidalee is still available. And with Leona being banned out, it means Thresh as a priority could be there as well.
There is the Nidalee ban, taking away that mid lane. I haven't seen Nidalee for a while because he's been pretty much sitting in that jail cell of a ban. Renekton also being taken away. This is maybe leaving the likes of Aurelia, Trundle, or Shyvana open for Wickd in that top lane. Maybe could be the first picks. So
what we've seen from Wickd in his last few games, he's only played Shyvana and Trundle. He's been trending more to the Shyvana than other champions, and he's actually picked sort of losing lane matchups in favor of late game scaling as far as his champions are concerned. With Renekton off the table, it just makes his life a little bit more comfortable in that top lane and a little more easy to work around depending on what your opponents pick.
LeBlanc is the final ban. Not too sure that Wicked's going to be playing the Heimendinger. Froggen has actually tried it a few times in solo queue, but I don't think he's going to get locked in first.
I don't think so either. My instinct is going to be Evelynn or Kha'Zix. I think
Evelynn would make sense.
Giving Shook a comfort pick.
Oh, the Lulu snuck through the champ pick well. So that's going to be for Froggen. Oh, it could be for Nyph. They could just be trying to fool them completely here, but I'm pretty sure that might be Froggen in the mid lane.
Yeah, I'm expecting that to be on Froggen as well. With 4 bans being targeted to the mid lane and letting through the likes of Lulu, the likes of Evelynn, the likes of Kha'Zix, Alliance have put a lot of emphasis on that Lulu. If they combine Lulu with the likes of, say, a Sivir AD carry, which is still open and available, in conjunction with a Shyvana top lane, they're going to have a lot of peel running around. It's a comp that Alliance worked very well, champion synergy that worked in their favor when they went on that 8-game winning streak.
It does, of course, mean that KottenX did get that Kha'Zix as a champion he wanted, and Creaton on Lucian as well. So 2 champions they're going to be very comfortable on in this start of the game.
Yeah, at this point in time, I think those are just safe picks. Because they're, you know, high priorities. As we've mentioned, the sort of trinity of AD carries being that Lucian, Caitlyn, and I've just gone blank. Lucian, Caitlyn, Sivir was the one I was thinking of. Immediately, Creaton's going to go on the champion pick, taking it away from Tabzz. Lucian is super, super versatile, and knowing that Thresh was available, if Lucian was still up, it would leave the possibility of a Lucian Thresh being locked in for Alliance. Because they've taken a jungler's already locked in, there was actually no pressure for Shook to lock his jungler in now, but he has done so to save up the counter pick for his top laner and determine if they want to run Jinx, for example, or if they're going to go Caitlyn or Sivir.
It is going to be Evelynn for Shook. It is a champion he's played non-stop. This win streak that Alliance had was pretty much bred off the back of Evelynn and Thresh being used predominantly, but you can see that Ziggs has already been locked up quickly by Kerp in that mid lane.
Very, very quick lock-in. Kerp wants to have that zone control. I also think against the Lulu, Ziggs is one of the champions that can do fairly well. His satchel charge will allow him to escape the initial glitter lance. Even though he can get hit by any and chased, it'll put some distance between him. In addition, the great wave clear and range just allows him to zone out and bully Lulu, at least for the first level or two, until Lulu gets all 3 of his spells available to her. For Kevin, on the other hand, he's not been successful in Shyvana. If this gets locked in, he's played it 5 times, he's lost 4 games with this champion, and he does have a decent KDA of 3 from the one game where he did very well, but it's not his strongest top lane champion by a long way.
Too convinced by this one. Kevin is normally a very steady top laner, but Shyvana's definitely not his best champion. We did see the counters getting locked in very quickly there. It was Trundle for Wickd once again. It's a champion he's played a ton of times. Again, probably going to carry that teleport. The teleports are generally going to be the top lane bread and butter these days. We're waiting for Tabzz to finally choose his AD carry. At the moment, he's sitting on Jinx.
Yeah, so Jinx is going to be the damage option, and I think they should go this route. Yes, Lulu will have damage much later in the game when she's got her Death Cap and her Lich Bane built up, but it'll take a while to get there. Evelynn, yes, she has damage, but it's damage over time. So I feel like with the amount of protection they have with Lulu, with Thresh, with Trundle pillars, the Jinx is a very smart option. If they'd gone for the Sivir, it would have taken a lot longer, and it would have taken perfect team fights to drop down members of Millennium. The one thing that Tabzz has to be super careful about, though, is looking for a Shyvana and a Kha'Zix diving onto him in those team fights. By having both of those champions available with a Mega Inferno Bomb that can come down from Ziggs, there is kill potential on Tabzz on Jinx, so he's got to be very careful with his positioning in those mid to late game team fights.
Oh, J-Ree sitting on Blitzcrank right now. It's a champion he's actually run before, so, well, he's locked it in, would you believe it? Blitzcrank will be used, so unsure on that one. It is a champion they've run, and it's a hook versus a hook, that's for sure.
It is, and it's one of those champions where if you don't get ahead early, you are in a lot of trouble. He has played it once this split already. He went 0-4-8. It was against Roccat many, many weeks ago. The risk with this champion lock-in now for Millennium is that Blitzcrank doesn't necessarily offer a whole lot to the rest of his composition. You're going to have Kha'Zix and Shyvana diving into the thick of things, hoping that the long range of Ziggs is going to amplify the damage and help them pick up kills. While they're diving in, you're going to be pulling a target in. Somebody like Evelynn or Trundle, who, truthfully, Alliance want to be in the middle of the fight. So J-Ree's going to make sure he helps get Creaton ahead early on that Lucian. As far as compositions are concerned, Alliance are going to be able to split push all day. They're going to have Trundle in that top lane. When they get to team fights, you've got a bunch of shields that can save one another. And as long as they can keep Tabzz alive, Tabzz has got enough damage to melt through that front line of Millennium.
Well, let's take a moment to check your votes over on lolesports.com. According to those numbers, you picked Alliance by 85%. Big vote for Alliance here.
Very big vote. But this is a team that's in the playoffs versus a team that's in the summer promotion tournament. Alliance, even though they lost yesterday, it was a hell of a game. It was very close. It was very exciting. And I think probably fair. We'll see if Millennium can upset the apple
It's a team that's won 9 out of the last 10 games. Let's be fair. That was their first loss in 4 weeks now, a full month until they had that loss. Of course, Alliance chasing that #1 spot. That's what they want. It's all about that #1 and the 2 seed. They get into the semi-finals early on. Alliance, of course, were firmly evil geniuses. They did get through in the spring split, but got knocked out by the eventual winners, Fnatic, in that semi-final. It was a fantastic matchup, and they actually feel, if just one single fight turned that match, they could have been in that final instead of Fnatic. History books would have been written differently. Instead, Froggen chose to go and separate his team and pick up a bunch of new members. At the moment, it looks like it's going to be a 5-man invade. And Millennium, this is their game. This is what they start doing, but Alliance are ready for it.
Advantage Millennium. Because the Blitzcrank hook is going to be longer range and faster acting than Thresh, if it connects, they're going to be in trouble. Everybody in Alliance is in the bush. These teams are about to face check. This is going to be a 5-on-5. It's going to start.
Alliance know they're coming because Shook would have seen it, and it's going to be J-Re face checking. It's going to be Kerp getting hooked in. They turn it back around with a grip on Wickd, but there's no kills, no full-on, no summoner spells really burnt out. There was 1 flash, 2 flashes burnt out by Millennium, and no flashes at all at Evelynn. Wickd, of course, he had to flash out of that Blitzcrank hook.
So hook on hook, but they didn't manage to lock anybody up. There was no other CC to work around. There's no way that Millennium could have known Alliance had picked that particular bush to camp in. And unfortunately, no blind hook means they didn't pull somebody and blow him up instantly. At the end of the day, very dramatic, no kills gained, summoner spells blown. Kerp needs to be careful in the mid lane.
Yeah, definitely. No barrier or flash is almost certainly going to trigger Shook to come and look in. I mean, he normally goes looking for those ganks in the mid lane up against Froggen. If that Glitter Lance lands with Shook nearby, it could well be a very dead little Ziggs. As it stands, Nyph and Tabzz are peeking, but I don't think they're going to go for anything here. They're just going to set up and maybe try and create a play of their own. They have got Shook with him. It's going to be a late invade on blue.
Yeah, they're going to be able to move in here quite safely. I think this is an informed decision. Having watched KottenX on Kha'Zix, it's one of only 2 junglers that he's played in the LCS. You know that he's going to start on that red buff and try to look for a gank after going red, couple of camps, blue. So safe decision making. Having Tabzz and Nyph with Shook means that that buff is stolen away. I'm a little disappointed that Creaton and J-Re are not pushing this lane heavier because they could have got an early level 2. Now that no minions have died on Millennium's side, Tabzz and Nyph have actually lost no experience or gold from that wave push, so the lane is as even as it can be.
Yeah, a little strange play there. They realized they were away. I mean, but they were expecting some sort of stealthy play, I don't know. But KottenX is going to try and go for the reverse and go straight in and get the blue buff of his own. However, Shook is heading this way. He's going to have to be quick on this one. I'm not too sure whether Shook's going to try and gain the ground quick enough. He's got Smite is not available for just yet. Shook's going to come around the corner. He's going to see him. There's the Smite, steals it away. Shook will find him, and they're all moving towards this one. You can see the top laners are going to get involved. Shook does get on towards KottenX. KottenX is going to get that unseen threat, but I don't think he's got the damage to chase on this one. Wickd's going to come around. Pillar of Ice was already used, and the flash had to be burned by KottenX.
Yeah, that is a very risky invade from KottenX because he didn't have any support with him. We didn't see Kevin moving to help him out. We didn't see Kerp coming to zone, and I actually think KottenX was a little bit lucky to get away with his life. Had Froggen seen that or reacted a tiny bit earlier, 1 Glitter Lance could have been enough to hold him in place long enough for either Wickd or Shook to secure the kill. Nevertheless, he does manage to balance out the buffs, so KottenX not quite as far behind, just doesn't have that summoner spell. Needs to be careful if he gets caught out.
Yeah, and honestly, if Shook would have chose to go up towards the top, because he went to race and then went around. If it had just gone up towards the top through the river, instead he went down round the bottom, so he took the long route to look towards it because he was securing, of course, the bottom lane. Could have all been very different. Would have come around the corner, found him there, would have stealthed in there because there was no vision at all whatsoever, so could have got himself the kill. As it is, he's going to get his red buff of his own, and it is all square and even.
Yeah, so we did see for a brief moment or two in that bottom lane how well J-Re was zoning out Tabzz and Nyph. He was using that Blitzcrank rocket grab to force Tabzz and Nyph to be on the back, but unfortunately for Millennium, the wave is now pushing very, very heavily against Tabzz and Nyph. So they should have the option available to them to freeze this lane up here and try to, goes wide, try to at least hold the lane in a safe zone. All of a sudden, Creaton and J-Re are the ones overextended, and they're dealing with an Evelynn, so they've got to be careful. Going to jump on Wickd. He does not have flash available.
He's going to get caught out. There's the Void Spike. There's the Claw. Wickd's going to go down here. I don't think he's going to be able to escape. He's got nothing to get away from it. It's KottenX with first blood.
Yeah, knowing that his flash was down, that goes all the way back to that level 1 invade. KottenX timing was very good. 75% of the cooldown had been used for Wickd, but he still did not have flash. Pillar of Ice, it couldn't have done much. I mean, truthfully, they were stuck on him. He was slowed from the red buff of KottenX's Kha'Zix, and he'd taken so much damage. He's not going to miss too much CS and gold, though, thanks to his teleport and returning to lane.
Yeah, I mean, there was, what, 3 slows pointed towards him. I don't think he was in much haste to get out of that one. And it was, as you saw, Shook going in there, taking away the Wolves knew, of course, KottenX was in the top lane. Wickd is going to get himself some farm continuing on, though, despite the fact he has been taken down. It was only the assist. The hook lands on J-Re. No follow-up, though, from Tabzz. Let's check out those items. Of course, Wickd had only got that Doran's item, and so all he could get is a second one. Meanwhile, Vampiric Scepter being picked up by Kevin. So Kevin with a slight edge in terms of items. And of course, more importantly, look at all those pink wards Millennium aboard.
Yeah, they have to, because they're playing against an Evelynn and they haven't gone for a lane swap. We've seen yesterday how effective you can deal with Evelynn's if you force a lane swap and force Shook to go for the tower dive or for the defense. This time round, investing in all of these pink wards very early on, if used correctly, can give Millennium a lot of tools to work with. The risk that they run into, though, is having that pink ward cleared out and then having Shook just repeat or redo the pathing to move around and go for the gank. So we'll see where they decide to put them down. There's already a pink ward in the lower river as well as the top tri-bush. So the two lanes that the two entries you're expecting Evelynn to come through have been covered.
Yeah, I mean, while it's not as efficient with all the pink wards, would it not be cheaper just to go for the standard ward and put them deeper on towards the ward camps like you see on the walls on the blue buff, just where they're going to actually pop out so you can see Evelynn early?
It is definitely, if you want to go that option, put a stealth ward deep in their bushes and allow yourselves to react to the invades, but it's so much riskier. At this level in the game, we see Shook, he's already clearing out the first of those pink wards, and KottenX already had that failed invade. He went in to steal the risky invade, rather. Stole the blue away, now he's moving himself in. Down a lot of CS thanks to those ganks, but Froggen does seem to be somewhat aware, getting some vision in place. It doesn't look like he's going to catch KottenX just yet.
I think he was maybe looking at poking towards the top. I think Wickd probably had some spider senses tingling. The fact that he was a mile up the lane probably gave it away for him. As it was, Froggen returns to mid lane, and this is a fairly even fight between these two. Lulu, the predominant lane bully, up against Ziggs, who can push lanes very heavily, and these two at the moment are going very much even in farm.
Yeah, unless one of the players makes a very big mistake, I am anticipating that lane. Oh, Shook, gonna get blue. Oh, bomb! Yeah, he gets it. Smites it away. Teleport down from Kevin, though.
Teleport comes in, Kevin coming in there. JW's going to close around the side. The choppers do enough. Froggen may well be forced to flash. Is he going to throw the lantern out here? I'm trying to see whether he's going to hold out instead. Had to use that wild growl. Not too sure why there was no lantern from Nyph there instead. He could have just used that to go to safety. They're going to try and transition this into the dragon. And well, Shook did use that smite, remember, so he can't come in and steal this one. It will go to Millennium.
No teleport from Wickd, no flash from Froggen, and they were split up. If Alliance were going to engage, it was going to be 4v5 in a best case scenario, so I think it was a smart decision not to challenge. Also, because it's before 8 minutes in the game, and the average champion level is below level 6 or level 7 at this point, Dragon's not worth all that much. You see, Millennium have only got a 600 gold lead, so smart decision making not to risk any further play there. The one thing that I do want to touch on is how both of those mid lanes are super bullies, and unless a player makes a monumental error, we're not expecting one-on-one kills. KottenX could get killed by Shook, though. He's going in with Agonies.
He's going to come around, might be catch on towards him. He has got his ultimate, gets the slowdown on him. KottenX has already used that flash. Shook could dive this one, but does not fancy it. There's no ultimate available for KottenX.
No, and KottenX didn't get the buff either. He had his smite available, and it was taken away there by Shook. So, you know, KottenX down on CS. Super Mega Death Rocket, little bit risky. That's not going to kill him.
No, it's going to hit him in the face, though.
It hits. It's a good shot. Good shot. One for one. But what is very important to note is KottenX is 25 CS down. He's lost another buff. And Alliance have got a very good read on where KottenX is. The first time KottenX invaded blue, he was forced to blow flash to get away. The second time he goes into steal the white, Froggen was toying with invading, and now Shook finds him in the jungle, forces him away.
Has actually, yeah, he's got the edge because he got that first blood, didn't he? He's got the edge in terms of gold, just ever so slightly. This is going to be a blue buff for Froggen here, so he's going to be happy with that one. He's going to be going up against Kerp, who will not be too happy to see that blue buff on him. You can see he's already taken some poke, and he takes another Glitter Lance to the face as well. Ziggs using that Mega Inferno Bomb to keep the wave clear, but it's not going to be enough to keep Froggen at bay.
So I want to go back to the point you were touching on regarding deep warding Alliance's jungle to deal with Evelynn. I actually think Millennium need to put more focus and emphasis on that for two reasons. Not only does it allow them to read the jungle camps that Shook is killing, but it's what you want when you've got a Blitzcrank. In order for Blitzcrank to be successful, you want to be able to land hooks when Alliance feels safe. Pull people out of their jungle, pull them away from buffs, pull them away from their Wraith camp. And if you've got that deep wards in there, it allows Jerry to set up those plays. So we'll see if they feel the same and decide to go that route. And right now, Jerry, this Blitzcrank hasn't done anything for the first 10 minutes of the game. He's had one hook. It was far from being game-changing.
And at the moment, they haven't got a single ward in the Alliance jungle, and honestly, I think they're a little too scared to go in there and place them because, as you've seen, Shook going up against KottenX. Currently, it is Shook that's coming out the best. However, KottenX now, with that ultimate available, may be able to try and turn the tide. As it stands, though, it's still that 1 kill in the top lane on Wickd. Well, J-Re thought about it. Death Sentence lands. They're going to put some damage down. The chompers, the ultimate, the Mega Death Rocket does go out. J-Re taken very low from this one. One more shot should be enough, but the culling from Creaton's enough to stop them in the tracks.
Yeah, J-Re forced to get away. The flash was enough to keep him alive, and thanks to his passive of the mana barrier, it blocked a lot of additional damage. But now, Tabzz and Nyph are going to get free reign on this bottom turret. If Creaton sticks around and gets caught by CC, he is in trouble. The one thing I want to highlight that, you know, we haven't touched on just yet is how well Wickd is doing in the top lane. He's playing Trundle against Shyvana, and he is 20 CS ahead. Now, we haven't been seeing if this is because Kevin's playing safe because of that Evelynn or not, but this is a very good position to be in. When you have a Trundle that is winning his lane in a matchup that, you know, a damaged Shyvana he shouldn't necessarily be winning, it's going to bode so well for that next dragon fight and for the next time Wickd teleports in to engage the rest of Millennium.
And of course, both of them building identically at the moment. They're both gone for that build toward a Cutlass. We'll see. Kevin just backed off again, got himself twin daggers, so he's going to be returning to the lane, trying to get some of that attack speed on the go. As it stands, though, Millennium are pushing this bottom lane. They're going to get some damage down, but Tabzz is quickly took the golems and returns to continue that farm of his own. Slight advantage for Creaton, that's going to get balanced out. Here's going to be, what, 3 gold, 3 CS differential between the two. Mid laners, of course, it's going to be both going for that theme to early grab, but you see Froggen built it already.
Yeah, I think mechanically, Millennium, you know, Kevin and KottenX are completely being outshone by their opponents, and I don't know exactly why. KottenX has tried to make ganks, he has secured first blood, he's been caught out a little bit, but he's not farming anywhere near as effectively as Shook has. On the same token, Shook has not ganked. We haven't seen him in the lane. He counter-jungled KottenX once, and when you've got both teams happy to extend the laning phase, happy to just sit, farm their waves away, and then get to a mid-game power spike, it just means that team fight is going to be very swingy in terms of control. There's no room for error.
And just to highlight that point for KottenX, last time we talked about it, KottenX had a 200 gold advantage. He's now 200 gold behind in farming, just purely from farming, because neither of them have gone for ganks. So Shook is absolutely farming up a storm right now around that jungle area, and maybe going to start looking to invade it.
Yeah, when you've got lanes that are doing well, Wickd has probably told Shook, I don't need assistance. He's winning his lane by himself. He's extended that CS advantage. So with Shook being said, like, don't worry about that. In mid lane, it's difficult to gank a flash barrier satchel charge Ziggs, so don't come in yet, we'll be fine, we'll just farm at mid lane. And Tabzz and Nyph, they've just been swinging back and forth with Creaton and J-Re, trading, you know, zone control and lane control. So at the end of the day, Shook's under no obligation to gank. Alliance may feel their team fighting is superior and their decision making is superior in the mid to late game, so why risk it? Why risk going all in against a Blitz or a Shyvana or a Ziggs who can turn ganks around and get kills?
Well, currently, they are continuing that farm. This is what happened actually from the Alliance Fnatic game. They had a long lane phase which quickly transitioned into chaos the moment someone decided to pull the trigger. Once they decided, right, we're going to take one of those towers down. It could be the next dragon play, which of course is up. It was a very early dragon that came out from Millennium, which is what gave them that early lead. But you can see that lead has just whittled away once again. In terms of gold, they are very much even, and it is looking like Alliance that may try and make a play here. You can see them already positioning for Dragon with these two members making their way down, Shook and Froggen. There's the mines going down. That's not too worried about that. They've cleared that one out, no problem.
Yeah, at this point, it's just going to secure the pink ward, get more control. Oh, they've caught Creaton!
The hook goes down. Creaton's going to get pulled straight back into this one. Barrier's not enough, and he goes down. And now J-Re, well, KottenX comes in there. Wasn't expecting Shook to join the party. Mega Inferno bomb. Nyph's going to get pounced on by KottenX. He got flayed away. J-Re gets taken down, but he runs straight into Froggen, who turns around, puts that wild growth down. He's actually tanking the dragon round as well. Doesn't really care about it. It's going to be 3 kills and a dragon for Alliance.
That was brilliant play from Alliance. They catch Creaton out, and Nyph showing why Thresh is a must-ban against him. The moment Creaton tried to use his dash away, it instantly got flayed. Nyph pulled him back into place, held him there long enough for Tabzz to secure a kill. And J-Re, he was trying to, you know, position for a potential dragon fight. It was too early and allowed his AD carry to get taken down. At the very least, Millennium get the top tower, but that is a small victory when you see each of the carries in Alliance grabbing themselves kills and getting that dragon.
The teleport from Wickd, it came, well, pretty late. I don't even think he got it. Did he get a single assist? He did. He got
one.
He got one assist at the end, and obviously helped out on the dragon. But unfortunately, it meant they lost that top turret. So technically, objectives were traded, and actually turned out, despite of course the 3 kills, wasn't as bad for Millennium as it could have been.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think for opening up that top half of the map, it is a small victory for Millennium, but they need to take advantage of it by once again going for those deep wards. They need to get some more control. They had pretty good vision in the river, but the problem there was not vision for Millennium, it was Creaton being caught and Jerry almost, I don't want to say the word abandoning, but leaving his AD carry. The moment Blitzcrank hits his W, that overdrive, and gets the speed boost to move away, Creaton's never going to be able to keep up with him with those tier 1 boots. So unfortunately, Creaton just left alone. It's dropped down.
And I hate to say, but so far Nyph has landed 2 fantastic death sentences that have led to kills, whereas J-Re has yet to land an impactful rocket grab.
Yeah, to remind you, the last time it was played was against Roccat, and J-Re didn't have a particularly strong performance then either. So we'll see what he does this time around. With that top tower down, you notice how both Kevin and KottenX are now moving around this top half of the map. They may try set something up on Trundle. He has his ultimate, he has flash. I think they're going to go in. This is still going to be difficult because the moment Dragon's Descent comes down, it's bonus armor and MR.
And puts the pillar of ice down on him, and as you can see, he just gets blown away there. He's going to try and take some lifesteal away from the white. Now he's got Shub coming around. They're going to try and turn this one around. It's actually Kevin that's turning on. Mega Inferno Bomb's going to come out. That will take Wickd down. Now Froggen's going to join the party. He's going on towards KottenX. Wild Growth being used on Shub. They're going to get the Glitterlance down. KottenX tries to pounce away. You're not going to get too far from that one.
So they get 2 for 1 at the end of the day. 1 for 1 at the end of the day. And if Wickd hadn't used that Pillar of Ice to scout the Tribush, he may have been able to get away a little bit more effectively. Nevertheless, they do trade top laner for jungler, and Tabzz is going to melt this bottom turret. They've got Jerry!
Death Sentence into Chompers, not quite proccing off this time around though. So Nyph again, they do take the tower, they do land another hook, but J-Re manages to escape just by the skin of his teeth.
There was such a small window of opportunity there for J-Re. He needed to flash the millisecond that Death Sentence timed out before he got caught by Flame Chompers. He made it work, and he did survive. So at the very least, gets away with his life. But Alliance grab their first tower of the game, extend that goal lead even further, and as you've already highlighted, J-Re on Blitzcrank not having the rocket grabs that would give them any sort of advantage yet. But now that we're going to get into this tower defense siege situation, there's always the threat of Alliance standing too close and getting pulled in under a turret when it still would be big.
Millennium a little fearful of losing their blue buff, which is why they came around and secured that. Of course, Tabzz and Nyph were there. Tabzz has gone back, got himself that Bloodthirst completed a while back. Now he's got the beginnings of the Phantom Dancer in there. Could go Static Shiv, maybe we'll see which way he's going to go with this one. He's got the Zeal already completed. Meanwhile, we do see the Lantern being used, pulling in, and Nyph and Tabzz, they are on a roam right now. They've of course taken down that bottom turret and looking to try and create some plays here, it seems. Nyph maybe going to roam around. They do want that bottom lane pushed out, which is why Tabzz gone back to defend.
Yeah, I feel like it's a couple of minutes until Dragon. So if you look at all of the wards that have been placed in Millennium's jungle right now, Tabzz is setting up the vision zone that will allow them to challenge and do battle for the next Dragon safely. So it's quite smart future planning. Those wards will last 3 minutes, and I am expecting Dragon to be up in that time frame.
Also allows them to push right up towards that inner turret, which as you can see where they're heading right now. Froggen sidestepping the bomb, and again landing that glitter lance on Kerp. Seems to have the better of him right now, but Kerp has the better of the farm. They are both 1-0-1, so even. Oh, we're going to see Power Fist coming straight out. Mega Inferno Bomb is not going to find its target. The hook will land on Tabzz, but immediately flashes straight out with it. Chompers were used there. We do see Ziggs coming around the side. Froggen's going to get involved as well. They did manage to take Tabzz down though, so finally one of those grabs work out.
Yeah, well played by J-Re, actually not relying on the rocket grab to set it up. He used his overdrive into Power Fist, which is a safer option. It's much more difficult to avoid, and that could have been even more effective if Creaton didn't step on a Flame Chompers to prevent getting damage down. While they've got a kill, the rest of Alliance are going to be on this mid-outer turret. J-Re's got Shook!
Oh, Shook just ran straight into J-Re. The Death Sentence land. The Wild Growth bounces him in the air. Shook flashes away. He saved the Ignite's not going to get the kill. Froggen may be in trouble though. Remember, he's already used that Wild Growth. He's going to try and speed himself up here. KottenX is going to sink them claws in. Gets the shield back down. It is so hard to kill a Lulu when he's persistent on getting away. The Death Sentence flung out from Nyph will not find the target. Creaton tried to come in and finish the deal. They may still push on this tower though.
So Millennium defend their turret, and now they're trying to see if the flash blade doesn't connect.
Does not connect. They wanted to get on Kerp. That was what they were targeting. You can see the Pillar of Ice went down to defend it, but it wasn't quite enough, and the siege continues. Millennium, though, they're going to get held back here.
Yeah, I think there's enough members of Alliance to defend this turret, but the flash play from Nyph was instantly countered by Kerp flashing away. He did not want to get even potentially slowed, so he gets away with his life. Very chaotic fight there in the mid lane, which ends up resulting in a lot of summoner spells and ultimates blown. But neither team was fully prepared for that engagement. Neither team was fully prepared for the fight, which is why it dragged out and why it was so sloppy. Knowing that flashes are down and a few ultimates while Dragons is up, I actually think there are more ultimates for Millennium, but they're not in position. They are so far away to challenge, it's going to die.
It's going to go down. Mega Inferno Bomb is coming in as close.
Wow.
They got it.
Shook, he either needed to delay the Dragon and wait for the bomb to land, then smite, or... Actually, no, that's all he had to do. He didn't do it. So Smite was available, gets caught out. They've caught Froggen.
They've caught Froggen. Wild Growth used straight away. You do try and keep him at bay here. Kevin caught by the choppers. He's going to go down. The super mega death rocket from Tabzz enough. Death sentence flying in out, but not finding his target this time around.
Seeing how well Alliance actually played that one, I almost think to myself it may have been a bait. There were so many members of Alliance set in place, and the moment Froggen put the Wild Growth, there was chompers behind him. Now here comes Shook from the side.
4-man ultimate coming out from Shook. They're catching the slowdown, but KottenX sinks his teeth in towards one. Gets on towards Tabzz, gets the reset. He can go for a third here. Wickd taking a lot of damage. KottenX going to tank up that turret, and it will go down. Millennium turning this game on his head.
KottenX did the same thing yesterday against the Super Hot crew. Every team fight, he stealthed up, jumped in from the side, and secured kills. He is 4, 2, and 1. Yesterday, he went 11, 5, and 10. And if KottenX can get to the point where he has enough damage to 1v1 Tabzz, especially in this mid-game phase, then Alliance have such a tough time. Trundle and Evelynn want to be in the thick of things against Millennium, as does Lulu. And if they have to split up their forces and split up their focus to defend and protect Tabzz, it just reduces the effectiveness of their composition. So we need to see how Alliance manage this. They are going to need Tingvalls of their own to reveal KottenX in that stealth so they know where he is and they can deal with him in fights.
Should point out that a lot of that play began with J-Ree's hook. It's only fair to point that out because he did make the play which turned that game. And currently, given Millennium the slightest of leads in this game right now. They are 2-1 up in turrets, they are 2-1 up in dragons, and they are 6-6 all square in kills. J-Ree, again, roaming around, looking for something to play, and the teams have kind of reset themselves. They're like, okay, Dragon's down. We know it's going to be available in another 6 minutes' time. Let's just take our time and slow things down again.
I'd like to see Millennium setting up a siege. In a sieging situation, Trundle and Evelynn are not necessarily the strongest. The Pillars of Ice are pretty effective, but outside of that, not really much else. If Millennium can get Alliance onto a tower and start using the Ziggs bombs for threat and rocket grabs, Nyph is going to get away. Boots of mobility is always going to be pretty safe. I feel like with Ziggs bombs and the threat of a rocket grab underneath the tower, that's where Millennium's comp is going to shine and going to do well. And if anyone from Alliance rushes in, Shyvana can knock them out. Now Nyph is in trouble.
Overdrive, is he going to get the power fist onto Nyph? Yes, he will. The flay quick turnaround and the hook comes in. But again, KottenX is there. Manages to get the kill. He's back on Tabzz now. Jumps, leaps, gets the claws back in. He gets the reset. And now Shook comes in to try and help them out. But Shook may go down. The claws are not quite enough though, because Froggen comes in. Shook runs away. He gets caught out. This time around, it's Kerp.
2 for 3, and once again, that was Nyph being caught out. Millennium jumped on an opportunity. They lose 2 of their members but gain 1 more. Now Froggen doesn't have flash, doesn't have wild growth. He's relying on the movement speed of Whimsy to get away, and he can rely on it a lot because he motored away from Millennium. In the jungle there, Millennium came out ahead because they simply blew Nyph up quickly enough. And they had more bodies present in the fight. Even though the wild growth was good from Froggen, it was far from being game-changing. And Alliance, they need to play a little bit safer if they want to avoid giving Millennium the kills and the gold that they're currently securing.
Yeah, trying to take an advantage. Froggen realized caught out of position, does create a play from it though, and quickly pushes up and secures that top turret. All square in turret 2-2. Nyph goes back to warding out, and Millennium at the moment are doing a very good job at catching Alliance out, and as you mentioned, it's down to KottenX. He's making those plays, and Nyph, he's been caught out of position a few times now.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see KottenX performing well on Kha'Zix. We've seen him play Carl, we've seen him play Evelynn, and this week, much more so than last week, he's making an incredibly positive impact on his team. What he needs to do now, though, is start to feed and channel some of that kill gold that he's securing to the likes of Kerp and Creaton. Creaton's got himself a Trinity Force and a Bloodthirster completed, so sitting pretty happy against the the Static Shiv and Bloodthirst of Tabzz. But Kerp needs to get high. He's got a Death Cap, he's got an Athene's, and a needs to launch Rod. The moment Kerp can insta-give waves, that's how they can defend.
Millennium are going to try and close the gap here. It's going to be another overdrive. Power Fist comes in. That's going to be 4 members. They're going to Mega Inferno Bomb comes down. Tabzz is taken low. He gets taken down by KottenX once again. The teleport coming in. Wickd's going to join the party. Kevin's in there as well. We do see KottenX jumps on towards Froggen. He has to flash away. KottenX follows. He may have enough here, but no. Froggen's going to try and kite this one out. He will turn it back around. Now Shook's going to get closed in on. 1 bomb comes out from Kerp. That's enough to close that one off. Froggen chasing on towards KottenX, but a good void spikes from KottenX to slow him down.
2 for 3, it's not over as Wickd's now on the run.
Kerp's going to collapse on towards him. He should land the rubber duck. He stuns him into the corner. That's enough to get a kill. And this time Kevin takes it. It was a 4 for 1 to Millennium.
At the end of the fight, that was phenomenal. They managed to run down Alliance. You've seen Millennium getting aggressive on Alliance, running in from the side. Tabzz thought he was safe in and amongst the melee of that team fight, but J-Re threaded the needle with the rocket grab. Pay very careful attention to J-Re and Tabzz. You're about to see Tabzz get pulled all the way back into the middle of the fight and the middle of the Mega Inferno Bomb. That was a very, very important rocket grab for J-Re and Millennium. KottenX runs amok, grabs himself a double kill. He's just quite literally going ham on Kha'Zix because he's so far ahead. And because of the fact that Alliance lost their members, they just get run down and they just get shut out. Incredible team fight from Millennium, and they got towers out of it as well.
Well, fantastic stuff. So, 4 for 1 again. Millennium in the lead now over Alliance. Alliance who are trying to chase themselves, trying to work their way back to first place. But at this rate, Millennium are going to create a spoiler situation. They're going for Dragon. They've got a ward on it for Alliance here. But I'm not too sure they're going to get him close to this one. Mega Inferno Bomb gets blocked off nicely by J-Re. And, well, KottenX secures himself another 8-3-2 now on that Kha'Zix. KottenX is doing work, and honestly, the best Kha'Zix we've seen in the European LCS so far.
I completely agree with that. I think KottenX is showing the way you need to play this Kha'Zix. You want to get some tanky items and some damage. Now, I do feel that if Alliance are tighter grouped and they can focus Kha'Zix down, he's only got a Giant's Belt and a Negatron Cloak as his defensive items. Hex Shrinker is going to offer a little, but not a lot in the grand scheme of things. What worked for Insec at IEM was going super tanky with 2 items but late for damage and relying on staying alive in the middle of the team fight. KottenX is being the one that ends the team fights by getting on the squishy targets and taking them out. Alliance can't afford to be split, otherwise that same thing's just going to keep happening over and over and over.
Well, at the moment, you can see that he's leveled up his wings and, of course, his camouflage, which is the standard route these days for most of the Kha'Zix players. Hasn't gone with those claws, probably will be that 3rd evolution which he hits. I tell a lie, he's already hit it. He's well ahead. No, he's 16. He's 2 levels off it yet. Yeah. I was going to say those claws are looking big, but they're not quite stretched out.
Not yet, not yet. I think for Alliance, their comp is still very strong if they can pick the right fights. And right now, it's actually been a lack of vision on Alliance's part that has prevented them from picking those engages. Every time Millennium has had these long drawn-out scraps, it's because Millennium have jumped on Alliance and not given them the chance to engage. If you look at Millennium's vision, they have a lot of wards placed towards the river and the barren side of the map, because that is now where the game is progressing towards. And we'll see how they play that map.
We should point out that KottenX with hello, Nyph's waiting for that dead sentence, and he may get it onto Kerp. Now Kerp's throwing out those bombs, not having any of it. What I was about to mention, this KottenX, of course, was falling behind in farm, but the fact that he's got those kills has completely negated that factor, and from the lane phase, the advantage that Alliance had has kind of dissipated. They have still got Wickd, of course, heavily farmed up compared to Kevin, but that is about it.
See, Wickd doesn't matter right now because he can't stop both Shyvana and Kha'Zix jumping onto Evelynn, jumping onto Jinx, jumping onto Thresh. So we need to see how Wickd is going to impact these team fights. Finally, we see Millennium setting up the makings of a siege, but the wave clear from Lulu, the splash damage from Jinx in conjunction with Static Shiv is going to make it a tough task. I think Millennium need to get a pick and then go for a 5-on-4 siege where the wave clear is going to be reduced.
Well, I mean, the issue that Millennium may well have is the fact they do have to create those pick situations, or they need Alliance to run headlong into them. And we've seen many, many times this season that Millennium do fail to close those games out. That's why they are in the position they are in. They're going to have to go through that promotion tournament. The problem is, they may well be last in that promotion tournament, so they won't have the choice. And currently with some great teams in that promotion series, of course, Ninjas in Pajamas in there, probably the #1 pick. They were the #1 seed in terms of points. They got the buy through there, as well as Cloud9, Eclipse. They are teams that may well fancy their chances against Millennium.
Yeah, I think that's the case. And if you go in recent weeks' performances, Jerry is looking for Nyph.
Overdrive is going to catch him in this time around, and the damage of Kerp is going to be far too much for Nyph to handle.
And that was all down to the warding. Having the pink ward in the bush that Alliance were going to clear out, and then realizing the pathing that Nyph was going to take, even with boots of mobility in the coin. Oh, now Froggen's been jumped on.
Froggen caught out there. The KottenX is going to jump towards him. He's not going to flash chase this one. They knew his position, and Wild Growth had to be used out by Froggen there.
Wild Growth and Flash, with Nyph being down and Alliance being split. Flash for Flash. Millennium once again looking to create a siege. Millennium are pushing the map.
But a support Flash versus an AD carry Flash is very much worth it. A situation being created by J-Re. He didn't make too many plays in the lane phase, but he's really making it count now. We've transitioned into the game. This time around, they're going to go for KottenX, but KottenX jumps back on Froggen. Remember, no Wild Growth available. He gets taken down. Doesn't really get the reset, though. For some reason, didn't choose to pounce away from that one. And Creaton up against Shook. Shook realizes he can't face this one. The culling comes out, but he has to flash away. Another flash burned.
1-for-1, and trading a jungler for a mid laner is once again one of those trades you will take any day. Millennium need to find a way to convert those kills into objectives, though. They killed Nyph a few moments ago. They weren't grouped tightly enough to siege down the mid lane. Now they're going to try kill Nyph again.
Oh, Nyph, you are getting caught out of position so many times. Where are you going to go? Nowhere. He flashes away. Wickd tries to come back in. Tabzz is there as well. Kerp realizes the danger, and it's going to be a zap on J-Re. Kevin's teleported in. Choppers go down. He's going to go straight in his position. Will stun him the moment he teleports in. And Alliance get away.
Yeah, at that point, the silence needed to be earlier from J-Re. I think he was overestimating how quickly they could kill Nyph. Nyph gets away with his life. Flash is now down once again. If you look down the summoner spells of Alliance, only Wickd has Flash because Millennium are trying to find picks. They are forcing Alliance's hand. Now that Millennium has got all of those outer turrets down, they need to get deeper vision and convert those picks into objectives because it's not working out. Dragon's going to be the next big fight, and I actually think Alliance may want to challenge in the pit. If you can force Millennium into a small enough zone and jump on them with Trundle and Evelynn, I actually think Alliance can still win a team fight, but the time to make that move is fast running out.
Well, they are lacking a lot of vision, as you just saw there, and Alliance desperately trying to shove this mid lane up, trying to get some pressure on towards that tower, but Millennium quick to react to this one, quickly sweeping out those wards that were placed there, and Millennium have themselves full control of the Dragon Pit area, but they want to make a play first. J-Re tries to come in there, gets blocked off by the Chompers, does not manage to land a hook. They will take down another pink ward though.
Dragon's up in 5 seconds. That's a smart play. Millennium have got better vision around the pit. It doesn't look like anyone from Alliance is close enough to challenge. They're going to give this one up once again. The rest of Alliance are grouping towards this mid lane, so defending the tower is now a priority. Millennium, they're going to look for Nyph.
Oh, Nyph's going to lead to bomb there. He's going to get straight in towards him. Does play away J-Re, who doesn't manage to land that hook out there. Instead, J-Re looking to try and create a play, getting controlled by this movement. Creaton goes aggressive and forces them away.
Yeah, there's no minions for Millennium to work with. If they want to face tank a turret, they might be able to get this inner one. The minion wave is pushing against Millennium though, and they've zoned Alliance away. They are going to face tank a turret. This should be an even mid lane turret.
Yeah, Kevin is going to tank out that one. They're not going to finish it off though. They're going to step away. They don't want to tank it too far because Wickd coming around with that full health. They expected everybody else to be coming back with full health from the fountain. They are going to throw the Mega Inferno on. Tabzz actually taken low. Nyph gets jumped on by KottenX. He will get taken down. He could go back on towards Tabzz. He's got the reset. He's going to have that jump. He uses that stealth to try and speed up. Goes for Shook. Instead, jumps too far. Was not expecting Shook to get away so quickly, but nevertheless, they get themselves 2 kills.
Now Froggen's in trouble. Kevin's being zoned away. The rest of Millennium, they can either go for Baron or the tower. The reason the tower didn't go down, without minions around, it has bonus armor and magic resist, so it reduces the damage from champions. Millennium have set their sights on Baron. They have a 5-on-3 in a best case scenario, but they are low on HP. There is no Super Mega Death Rocket available, and Wickd is going to do the best he can to interfere with Millennium.
And Tabzz coming into this one little to no mana, so if he's going to be going in, there you go, that's all the damage he can do. Kerp taking low, uses that barrier, they quickly turn this one back around, but they are very, very low on this one. Tabzz might fancy himself a cheeky kill on the towards Kerp here, but the Baron is being tanked down, it will get taken. and Millennium, they get away scot-free, and they may even get themselves a kill here. A hook from Jwoo will be the death sentence for Wickd, and I don't think he's going to be able to get away. He tries to turn it around, but just gets bounced and pounced around, and it is another kill for Millennium. They have control of this game over Alliance.
I completely agree, and it's all down to J-Rees roaming on that Blitzcrank. He's been relevant in the mid-game thanks to his overdrive and thanks to the presence. It actually, if you go back and look at how many hooks J-Ree has landed, almost all of them against the likes of Nyph and Shook have been when Alliance were counter-warding. Alliance were going in to destroy wards, and J-Ree would run them down. So very smart play, very good decision-making from Millennium. The key now is to begin the siege. The key is to get that deep vision again and get those inner turrets, because for the last 20 minutes, neither team has made any sort of dent in their opponent's half of the map. This has been all lane and jungle entry battles. So we need to see who's going to get complete control of the map, because it still currently isn't even.
Well, with that Baron up, and of course Millennium, don't forget Millennium did get half the hit points down off that mid-inner turret. That may be the next focus. We can see Kevin probably going to start a split push off here. Teleport's going to be up shortly, but he's done enough to force that away. J-Ree having a little chuckle in the mid lane.
Can't blame him, he's doing well. The one thing that is positive for Alliance, there's a Guardian Angel on Tabzz, so the reset potential on Kha'Zix being played by KottenX is going to be reduced. I'm expecting more of them to be picked up. There are 2 on the side of Millennium, so this is going to be effectively 7 lives versus 6. Millennium finally sieging up, but look at that wave clear from Alliance. There are no minions left to work with.
Ooh, that Senson's almost catching Kerp as well, but they're going to tank this one down. They will take it. There's the Mega Inferno Bomb. Doesn't do a great deal of damage this time around, though. But it's an inner turret nonetheless. They're going to rotate around, and I think they fancy tanking this one straight away as well.
Yeah, I think they've got the opportunity to, knowing that Tabzz is on low HP, if a full fight were to break out, it's going to force the wild growth from Froggen earlier than he's expecting, earlier than he wants to. Millennium right now on this inner turret, they pull the minions with them, and we're just going to see how effective is Alliance's wave clear. You see Wickd, Pillar of Ice, but they're not really committing to killing his minions just yet.
Well, those mines get thrown down. There's a hook from Nyph, but Nyph taken so low, and there's a hook of their own. Wickd gets bounced around, pinned up like a football there, just do kick-ups, and they do take him down, no problem. That's another 2 kills for Millennium and a tower. They can push through the base.
They definitely can. 5 on 3 right now with Guardian Angels on their side. The inhibitor turret is down. They're going to get the inhibitor as well. Alliance, they're going to be hard-pressed to defend the siege.
That's going to be the inhibitor down, and Millennium are not done there. It's a 30-second death timer on both Wickd and Nyph. They're pushing through. They get one Nexus down. They go towards the second. Shook comes in, gets Agony's Embrace down. The Super Mega Death Rocket comes out. It's a good turnaround. Is it going to be enough, though? Tabzz is going to try and take another down. Kevin's very low. They can't tank this one up. Tabzz is going to chase on towards him, but he quickly gets turned around. Creaton putting the damage back down on him. Froggen gets out. He gets KottenX down. The rest of Millennium have to back away. Froggen fancies another kill. Lichbane glistening. Gets the shots off. Kevin's going to get taken down. It's a double for Froggen, and Alliance live to fight another day. The Guardian Angel gets popped. Kerp the Zonyas, he's going to get taken down. They're going to come rotate back around. Froggen off to the right-hand side right now is taking him down. Kerp doing the damage, though. He will get taken down eventually. Oh, Froggen nearly went headlong. There's mines there, Froggen. Step away from the mines. And Wickd, he's teleported to the bottom lane.
There is so long on those death timers that Wickd should be able to get damage on the inhibitor turret as well. Millennium bit off more than they could chew, and they stuck around on that Nexus for longer than they should have. They end up losing the Baron buff on all of their members, barring Creaton. Should time out soon enough anyway. And Millennium, they do have super minions in the top lane, but Alliance, they're not going down without a fight. They get a bunch of kills together, and you see when you can keep Millennium tightly knit and grouped, all of a sudden Alliance's team comp can work. But Millennium will most likely not make that same mistake again. They should have just backed away and pushed the side lanes.
Yeah, I think Jinx's passive of Get Excite was used by the entire Millennium team there. They saw a bit of flash of glory and maybe thought they could take it down. There is one Nexus turret remaining. It is very low. The Dragon's up in 5 seconds, but Alliance, they're going to try and push the mid lane. They have themselves a second chance at this game.
And we'll see how Alliance pull themselves back in with super minions in the top lane. It means maps in their favor. They're going to catch Creaton or not.
Now speeds away from that one. Yeah. Talisman not enough, and a quick dash from Lucian is enough to help him get away. They're going to rotate around. They're going to go towards that Dragon. Baron will be up in around about 2 minutes time.
Now, I think with the Dragon being up and no one from Millennium close enough, this is going to be an uncontested Dragon. And if memory serves, it's only the second Dragon in the game for Alliance. We will get that confirmed in just a moment. It's a little bit of gold, and the fact that they are down by a large amount of 7,000 gold and the fact that they have to defend, Alliance just need a turtle now. Alliance need to make sure they don't let those super minions get to their last Nexus turret. Millennium, on the other hand, they want to interfere. They want to force Alliance to come to them and then go for objective kills and then go for the remaining towers.
We'll see whether they can do that. At the moment, Millennium, all 5 members making their way down to this bottom. KottenX pushing the wave in, but I think they're just going to tank this one through. Kevin should be easily strong enough with the help of Creaton to take this turret down quick enough before Alternate, that is their previous name, Alliance do react. They are going to defend this one though. I was expecting to hang on a little bit longer. They're so fearful of that death sentence.
Yeah, they don't want to run the risk of getting caught out. There's enough CC and still damage on the side of Alliance that even if Kevin were caught, he'd get taken out. Right now with minions, oh, they've got Wickd.
Alliance going to catch on towards him, but the death sentence is not going to be enough. They try and go in. Shook's gone really deep on this one. Agony's Embrace catching all 5 members, but I don't think they've got enough damage. Nyph going to get taken down. There's the reset. KottenX does jump away, goes straight back to Wickd, but there's a lot of damage on Millennium right now. If Shook can get in towards him, if Tabzz can get some damage down, they will manage to pick up kills, but they are going to back away.
While all of that is happening, the super minions were pushing down the last Nexus turret. Luckily for Alliance, their minion waves have spawned, and it's kept those super minions off the turret, but that is down to a couple of 100 hit points. Millennium eventually secure the bottom inner turret, trading 1-for-1. Support for top laner. Overall, the fight wasn't bad for Alliance. They had the flank they wanted, they kept Millennium in the right spot. But because Millennium had such a strong advantage, and they were so far ahead on gold, the damage that they had allowed them to actually come out in a better position in that fight, even though Alliance were the ones that almost executed the fight better.
So close. Inhibitors respawned, and Alliance are now safe from large super minions coming in. Baron up in 9 seconds, as you can see. Almost certainly the next focus target. You can see Millennium already in position here. Jerry motoring around there, trying to get some vision, clearing out those wards and placing his own ones. No cover whatsoever. And you see Alliance, they're moving up as a 5-man right now. They have to try and shove the mid lane and create a problem for Millennium as they move in to get some wards down.
Yeah, I feel like Millennium's vision has not been the greatest this game. Jerry's positioning as a player has been what's allowed his Blitzcrank to do work. If they had slightly better wards throughout the jungle, they may have been able to react. Even that last fight in the bottom lane. If you had known that Shook or Wickd were coming around the sides, for example, you can react with a lot more information. Now, we do see Kevin. He's pushing the bottom lane. He has teleport available. Wickd does not have teleport available. So we're going to see this Baron dance. Deny vision, regain vision, and whichever team can pull the other in closer will obviously then start the fight.
Alliance trying to push and seemingly working here. Millennium not wanting to get caught out by a bad rotation and quickly moving around to defend, while Kevin actually is also backing away. So complete defensive duties from Millennium this time around.
And Guardian Angels are about to become available in just a few seconds on both sides of the table. So with the next team fight going to be very big and impactful, it's going to come down to, can you pull Tabzz out of a team fight? Can a rocket grab allow you to burst his GA and then take him down immediately? If Alliance lose Tabzz, that is a very big portion of their damage in a team fight gone, and that's what Millennium will be setting their sights on.
Froggen trying to zip around, trying to create something, trying to get a poke on someone. Rocket grab just sniffing past Wickd there. Not really the focus target. They managed to land a death sentence on KottenX. They're going to try and pop that ulti. They have forced it out there. The chompers were enough. That ultimate's going to be down. That's a big portion of his defensive duties there. That will be available in just a few seconds, but Alliance may try and create a play from this one. They know that KottenX, if he jumps in, he's going to be quite squishy.
So it's a 1-minute window of opportunity. That ultimate on Kha'Zix is 64 seconds right now at his current level with his current build. So if Alliance were to force a fight out, you've got that advantage knowing the damage reduction is not there, but they've caught Creaton.
They've caught him out once again. This time around, they pop Kerp's on Banshee's Veil. There's the rocket. The damage is coming down. The Zonyas comes out. The rocket on towards Froggen. Froggen gets pulled away by the Lantern. That's actually going to be a kill on Wickd. Now Shook's in trouble. All 5 members of Millennium focusing targets on towards him. Jerry flashes away. KottenX tries to come in, but the death sentence is there. Remember, he's got a Guardian Angel though. So all the damage done is simply just reversed. And the moment he respawns, he's going to be jumping straight back out. Oh, quick burst coming out from Froggen though, forces him away.
A very good Mega Inferno bomb from Kerp actually zoned Alliance away. Wickd and Shook were so deep down the lane against Millennium that when Millennium threw out that burst damage, Froggen and Tabzz almost stopped. They didn't want to get hit by a full Mega Inferno Bomb. So because of that, it bought Millennium a couple of seconds to focus Wickd down and deal a lot of damage onto Shook. They come out 1 for 0. They didn't lose any of their members. J-Re survived. Millennium are now looking at Baron, but they don't have their full team just yet, so they've got to be careful. This is a 5-on-4 situation, and ultimates are available for Alliance with the exception of Agony's Embrace.
Baron begun by Millennium. The rest of Alliance trying to rotate in. Remember, still no Wickd, but he has got that teleport. There is a ward in the pit that he may be able to hook onto. He's going to go down before he gets there. Shook comes in, dodges out the side there. Doesn't get caught out by a rocket grab this time around. Death sentence on KottenX. Remember, no Guardian Angels this time around for him. Shook's trying to get in. He's going to get pinned off. He's going to be focused down. He's going to get a kill. Meanwhile, Kevin's going to get taken low. Wickd is back in the fight, but it's a Baron for Millennium and 2 kills. They're going to put the pressure on Alliance's base.
There are so many minions in the bottom lane. Millennium have actually used their minions incredibly effectively. When they've picked fights, it's always been when Millennium's minions are dealing damage to Alliance's towers. We do see a reverse though in the top lane as Millennium may lose their top lane tower, but it doesn't matter. They should be able to get on the inhibitors.
With 40 seconds left on the respawns, you can see 30 for Nyph, 38 for Shook. This is almost certainly going to be a lot of pressure. Exposed inhibitor in that top lane. That's going to be the first focus. And then this mid lane, they could rotate around to it. You can see the minion wave is coming in. That inhibitor will go down, no doubt about that one. Wickd can't do anything to defend it. The rest of Millennium may fancy pushing on this one. Minions are there. They can see they're going to get some tank duty on, but they can see Froggen trying to get the poke. Kevin taken low here. He's just going to, well, say taken low. He took 1,000 hit points off him. He's still got 4,000 left. Rocket grab so close to catching Tabzz there. Creaton taken low, but he gets away. Remember, he's still got that Guardian Angel. There's the Mega Inferno Bomb once again. The rubber ducky flung out everything but the kitchen sink from Millennium, forcing Alliance away.
So a little bit of over-aggression from Millennium. There was multiple members inside the walls of Alliance's base. So when you see Froggen rushing in there with that whimsy and the movement speed, Millennium started to panic. They couldn't split up to reveal single targets. Creaton, however, he wanted to get some auto attacks on that turret, got zoned away. Millennium come away without losing any kills. They did get the top inhibitor, they did get their 5th dragon of the game, and they extend their gold lead to 14,000. But crucially, Millennium have not been able to beat Alliance underneath an inhibitor turret the few times they've tried.
So far. 47 minutes in this game as J-Re comes trundling out. He uses the ultimate. He didn't clear the minions, but he doesn't care about gold right now. He's not too worried. It's 85,000 up against 72,000. Gigantic gold stacks as we move towards the 50-minute mark of this game. This is Millennium's time, maybe. Who knows? Of course, Alliance lost the game yesterday. Maybe that's going to be playing in their mind against Fnatic as they hit this stage. That was down to a singular pick. It was Nyph that got caught out this time around, and he's going to be fearful that it doesn't happen again.
It's going to be the same for Millennium. Millennium need to get through those Banshees Veils, and they need to grab a priority target. You've got 5 members of Millennium pushing the bottom lane, and Tabzz is nowhere to be seen. He's going to arrive late to this tower defense.
Keeping those super minions away from the top lane, but maybe at the loss of this mid lane. So look at the damage from Creaton. He just hammered that down, no problem whatsoever.
Now, if Alliance want to fight, they want Shook to get a multi-man Agony's Embrace from the side, and Wickd needs to use a perfect Trundle pillar. If he doesn't manage to land the pillar, Millennium are just going to run riot across Millennium. Froggen throwing out those Glitter Lancers, it's not enough.
Yeah, Death Sentence landed, only popped the Banshee's Veil, wasn't enough. Froggen still trying to keep that poke on towards him. They want to get one of those key targets. They want to go for Kerp or Creaton. There's the hook, it's Kevin. It's not the one they want. It's another inhibitor down. Super minions continue to come in. You can see they're already putting damage on towards that Nexus.
Yeah, do not want indeed. Jerry's looking for a hook. Doesn't matter who they grab, they're going to go for the kill. Nobody from Alliance was close enough. Minions making their way to this mid lane. This looks like a pretty big wave.
Yeah, you saw how quick they took down that bottom turret. With this wave, there's going to be no problems here. Alliance are going to step away. They're going to have to fight for it. They're going to try and fight. They're going to try and go for the wave clear. But again, still, even with that tiniest little bit of damage, that tower almost went down.
Yeah, Millennium don't want to go for a tower dive, though. The moment Alliance moves to defend, they back away. Tower's 2 hits away. It's down.
J-Re managing to finish it off with Kerp there, running interference. And now Millennium with just one inhibitor left to take down.
And I also
force Alliance out.
I also think Nyph connected the Death Sentence onto Kerp, but it just popped his Banshee's Veil again. They need to get through that Banshee's Veil first, obviously, otherwise you don't have any crowd control. Millennium doing well. Super minions both top and bottom lane now.
Dang, that rocket grab doesn't land, but the Lucian ultimate, the culling all over Nyph and Wickd. And that shield coming out. There's the Mega Inferno bomb. It call on Tabzz. That may be the target. That may be the trigger. Shook goes in. Agony's embrace running in towards him. KottenX actually took caught out here, but his Guardian Angel is back up. He uses that ultimate, manages to defend all that. Wickd taken so low. KottenX jumps in, jumps out, gets the kill, and now Alliance falls back on towards it. Kerp comes in. He's got the Zhonya's Hourglass available. The rocket grab comes out, and now it's going to be Millennium taking down Alliance. I do not believe what is happening in this game. Millennium have performed absolutely brilliantly in this matchup. If only they would have shown this form earlier on in the season, they would not be facing the promotion tournament. But by God, they've caused a problem for Alliance.
In the final week of the split, Millennium go 2-0 in their first games, and Alliance are now 0-2 on the week. Thanks to that victory, Millennium tie up the head-to-head with Alliance at 2-2. While it's not going to make an impact in the table or the standing, you have to respect their performance. You have to give props. J-Re on Blitzcrank in the mid-game was phenomenal. I was questioning the pick early. I was doubting the power in the lane. And it didn't matter once you hit the mid-game.
And J-Re, wow, them hooks. They didn't happen in the lane phase, but by God did they happen in the mid-game. And that really is what created all the opportunities that Millennium capitalized on throughout that game.
I completely agree, and I feel like the composition from Alliance depended on them starting the fights on their terms. They did not do well once the chaos ensued. Once Shyvana was jumping and Kha'Zix was jumping and you got bombs flying all over the place, it didn't look like the Trundle and the Evelynn could deal with that sort of chaotic team fight. The moment Alliance got Millennium in a small confined space, held them down with the Agonies and the Pillars, all of a sudden they comped it well. But there wasn't enough times that Millennium were grouped tightly enough for Alliance's comp to counter them.
An Alliance who were 9 wins in 10 games suddenly lost 2 games on the bounce again. Maybe the Super Week's the curse.
Maybe it is. I mean, maybe it is. I mean, they went 0-4.
Well, they went 0-4, 4-0. Now they go 0-4 again.
Well, if we're going to go, trending one way or the other. So with that, Alliance now 14-12. It's becoming much more difficult for them to grab that first round bye, even though they are in the playoffs. You have to question, was that individual player mistakes on the side of Alliance, or was it individual brilliance from Millennium? There's an argument that could be made for both sides of the coin, because I didn't really feel like Alliance made plays. I didn't feel like they went out of their way to challenge Millennium. They were always being jumped on and always being caught out from the side.
Yeah, the moment the mid-game came around, they were just fearful of getting caught out every time. It was all counter plays. They did try and create a few moments, but Millennium were there every time. Yeah,
they were. I actually have a replay of one of those moments. Let's pull it up onto your screen. It's around about 25 minutes. Now, this is a definite LCS big play. It's the J-Re hook onto Tabzz on Jinx. Let's roll the clip out.
Threading the needle.
He really does thread the needle in the chaos of this team fight, grabbing the most important target. And if I remember correctly, he actually pulls him into the Mega Inferno Bomb. Yes, bang, there's the damage from Mega Inferno Bomb. All of a sudden, Tabzz is just deleted. That was a phenomenal play, and you can actually stop the replay there as KottenX does run amok and goes crazy. But at the end of the day, when J-Re needed to hook, he did, and that's the key point.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. We'd like to hear you shouting about those matches, those big moments, and do so. The players love it as well. Everybody loves it. So continue on tweeting them to @LOL Esports and use the hashtag LCS Big Plays. Fantastic stuff. And I want to talk about KottenX as well. 11-5-9, another fantastic performance. 11-5-8 yesterday, I believe it was. Still, maybe becoming a ban-worthy champion on that Kha'Zix.
Actually, he's 1 assist away. If memory serves, it was 11-5-10 yesterday. And it is ban-worthy. I mean, it's end of story. The way KottenX plays in Kha'Zix, especially with his team in the mid-game, is very, very crucial. He looks for kills. He doesn't necessarily look to tank up or be the initiating force. He wants to clean up. He wants to flank. He wants to come in from the sides and get the squishies. And so far, yesterday and today, he's done it in both of his games.
Fantastic start to the day. Another 5 games to go. But for now, we're going to check in with Shox and Joe, who are standing by with Millennium's Kevin.
Thank you very much, D-Man. Indeed, Kevin is joining us here after a fantastic win versus Alliance. I want to talk first about your reaction, because you were almost brotherly hugging KottenX there after the victory. Tell us what it felt like to beat this Alliance.
So for us, it meant a lot, because Alliance is a really good team, and they're really strong right now and performing really good. So we had to do our best and show really what we can, and I think we did. So with KottenX, we have a great individual skilled player, and he knows what he has to do and how he can carry when he has the lead. So he won't he won't be scared to say, I want this farm, I want this farm. So it's really good. It's really nice to have a player like that.
I have to be that guy, though, and say this is the final week. You've won back-to-back matches, which is something you've not done all season long. Is that because of the roster change? Is that because you're feeling like you've got no pressure now that that place is locked in already in relegation?
I think it's a mix between both, maybe. We would have, maybe, no one knows, maybe if we would have swapped the player, I don't know, 3 weeks before, we would have maybe ended up higher in the ladder, but who knows? So we just did it now. We got kind of the confidence now with the new player, and we know we can do the plays and we can finish games out this time. We know what to do. So yeah.
We saw you in the preview video also saying how much it means to you. Can you elaborate a little bit? Because of course, you know what it is to be an LCS player. I can imagine you don't really know what it is to be anything else at this point in time. So how big is the pressure for you to keep being in the LCS?
So yeah, for me personally, it's the pressure is pretty big because yeah, as you said, I only know the LCS. I don't know how it would work in the Coke Zero League or something like that. So because it's kind of not like a full job, and it is a full job, so you never know. And so for me, it's really important to stay in the LCS. I think for the guys as well, and I think they realize that it's really important to stay here. So everyone is really improving every day and giving the best the next day as well.
What's the most important thing for you guys to work on right now? I mean, we've just seen, as I said, back-to-back wins. I guess even though it's a bad time because it's the end of the season, you're already locked into that position, it's also a good time because you need to improve, you need to win those games in the promotion tournament to stay in the LCS. What needs to be worked on here, and how has the addition of KottenX and removal of RNA really changed the team dynamic?
So I think what we have to work on is kind of maybe our early game a bit. We are still a bit shaky there, just with 2v2 and maybe even 1v1 and stuff like that. Especially when lane swaps are up, we're kind of practicing that really hard in scrims. And yesterday versus SHC we did it, so it went good. Overall now, with KottenX, the team dynamic is pretty good. Like everyone is pretty motivated and pumped up. And of course, we don't have the big motivator like Aranya anymore, the guys who always shouts and keeps us up. But now we have someone that is pretty calm. He knows how this game works, and he knows what calls he has to do.
All right, well, congratulations. Great win from you guys. Always great to hear from you. And of course, always great to hear from you guys at home. And today you've been sounding off on Twitter and at LOL Esports, because earlier we asked you who has been the most innovative European LCS player this split and why. And here are some of the players you highlighted. The first one is from @StefanosLol. I think Diamond is still the most innovative. Udyr, Shen, Xin Zhao, and the tank Eve. What pick? Hope they do well today. And to be frank, Diamond has done that for years.
Yeah, Diamond has always been the probably innovative jungler. We remember, if we look back to last year where he brought out Nasus and Volibear. I have to say one thing though, we talk about he's played Zed in the jungle, Shen, Udyr. They've not all been that effective. Skarner, of course, he played as well back around Valentine's Day. And to be honest, although they were new picks and first picks in the jungle, they've not been that successful for him this year.
Maybe he should try Heimerdinger jungle.
I wouldn't say no to that.
The second one is from @LucasFritas. Overpow. He brought the Spectral Raid Ziggs and Morta to the LCS, but recently we haven't seen that much of that anymore. Kevin, how was your experience playing against Rocket and that unknown factor of Overpow?
So Rocket at the beginning really strong. Now I feel they are a bit predictable what they will do. Like I don't want to say too much now, but yeah, I think we will have a plan against them, and I hope it will work out for us.
Yeah, be careful with that. And the last tweet is from @HTT91. Integrated with the first Vel'Koz EU and constant threat of that Kayle support is an innovator.
Yeah, and it's hard to disagree with that one as well. He brought Kayle in there, Vel'Koz in that game against Gambit, which was then replayed afterwards. Vel'Koz didn't work out. I think we saw the weak points of Vel'Koz in that game, his lack of mobility and how easy he is to jump on top of and close down. We've also seen, let's not forget, Galio support from N-Rated, which got them a win in that game. So he's definitely not afraid to pick something new and try it out, in a very competitive environment, and an environment where he needs the wins. It just shows, how brave he is, I think, to do that kind of thing on a regular basis.
Absolutely, and it's also always great for us to see. And as for you guys, thank you for sending those in, and remember to keep tweeting to us throughout the week by using the hashtag LCS. It's time for us to go on a broadcast cooldown, but when we come back, Alexish and Gambit will be facing off against Overpow and Roccat. The action continues in 3.5.
Yes, he will. The flake quick turnaround and the hook comes in. But again, KottenX is there. Manages to get the kill. He's back on Tabzz now. Jumps, leaps, gets the claws back in. He gets the reset. And now Shook comes in to try and help them out. But Shook may go down. The claws are not quite enough though, because Froggen comes in. Shook runs away. He gets scored out. This time around, it's Kerp.